Bonita Applebaum got it going on. Bonita Applebaum, baby, got it going on. Oh, Big John Ace Fedoni. You get back on that board, baby. You better mix it up. Big John he's looking to take your job, man.
We'll see.
He's trying to Brock Purdy you.
I have noticed that my beds have getting a little stale because a lot of people use them at the station.
Don't
That's
worry.
The thing.
I got you some new beds. Trust me. We got some new bakers for football season.
Okay.
Hotel lobby.
Send them in the chat.
Hotel lobby, Quavo.
No,
just
allowed.
straight beats.
All right, straight beats. All right, beats by Dre.
I got some stuff for you. Don't worry.
Beats by B. There you go.
Beats by B. I like that. I like that a lot. Look at you. Look at you. Spinoni doing a great job here from Joe Shasky. Joe Shasky out there listening. He's definitely texting. Leave us alone, dude. Leave us alone. By the way, shout out to my guy, Keith Gillette, talking about moving your daughters or your kids to colleges and moving around. You got to do all that stuff. Guy Keith's stepdaughter just got a full scholarship to Lane College out there in Jackson, Tennessee for basketball.
Awesome.
Basketball.
That's
How about
awesome.
that?
I'm so
HBCU, moved around over there in the weekend. Can't wait for those times when you get little Benny.
I'm already dreading him going to kindergarten next year, Bonte. Kindergarten.
Oh, man.
He was just a little baby, dude.
Oh, man.
I hate it. Why can't they say small forever, man? I hate it.
Yeah, I know.
Baby girl's getting
baby
big, too.
It makes me sad.
It does.
Makes me sad.
Beautiful, right. But it's sad at the same time.
You know what made me sad was Rob Ninkovich was supposed to join us yesterday. But then I was like, you know what?
What a segue.
I can't blame him. Rob Gronkowski called him to do a freaking podcast. Morning roast in San Francisco with some guys named Bonte Joe Spadoni or Rob Gronkowski. I think you made the right decision, Rob. But thank you for joining us today, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Doing well. Sorry yesterday. The day caught up to me. I had to do a podcast. The Dan and Ninko Show. Check it out. We're on YouTube. But Rob was our 100th guest. Our 100th episode. We had Grunk on for fun, and we had a little competition on who could throw the football farther.
Oh.
And today, I can barely move my right arm.
Wow. Man. So who threw the football farther? Was it Gronk?
Gronk beat me. He had 63 yards.
Wow.
That's a good toss.
It's a large human, too.
I was 58, and that was all I had. Just Gronk being Gronk looked at me and goes, I never even tried to throw a football that far. Like, what? Rob is a special character when it comes to just how he rolls, man. So he's a good friend of mine. We had a good time, talked about ball, talked about, good old days, Patriots, Tom. Tampa, all the stuff that he had been through in his Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the best tight ends ever, if not the best. He could run block, he could catch the ball. But, Rob, when I watched you play with the Patriots, Saints, or Dolphins, and when you won 2 Super Bowls with the Pats, I never thought you could throw football. I just said, Rob goes and hits quarterbacks, plays a little pass coverage.
Maybe in high school.
Yeah, maybe in high school. Did you ever play quarterback?
No, but I was a long snapper. So you got
to yeah, I was a long snapper in Pop Warner football. It didn't work out well for me.
I was a third-string wide receiver, got popped.
All right, yeah. we brought you on because we so enjoyed your coverage on ESPN. It's going to be their loss. We apologize about that, but you know the game so well. I really enjoy your analysis here. So when it comes to the 49ers, obviously Brock Purdy's the leader in the clubhouse. And the Niners got him on a cheap right now. He signed a 4-year deal when he got drafted last in the draft, the last pick of the draft, that is. And so they got a nice discount on Brock Purdy for the way he produced in those last 8 games last season. Now he gets hurt against Philadelphia. But what's your how do you view Brock Purdy here long-term with the 49ers coming off this torn UCL injury?
Well, I love what I saw last year. Kid's got some moxie to him. Definitely a leader. You can see that. The guys around him respect him. And when you have a quarterback, it doesn't matter where you're drafted, obviously. I mean, look at Tom Brady and the things that he was able to do in his career, drafted late. So little chip on your shoulder, confident in your abilities, and when he had the opportunity, he went out there and he shined. So my only reservation and concern would be he definitely just had an elbow surgery, so I'm sure he's on a pitch count. I'm not there at training camp. I'm not watching the reps, but I'm probably positive, 100% positive, that they're not going to have him out there doing the Ninko and Gronkowski, see how far you can throw it. Being cautious, making sure that they take care of him, because we still got a long way to go before the regular season when actually games matter. But when you look at the 49ers, especially last year, such a promising team because of the talent that they have and their defense. You go down the list, defensively, very productive, very explosive, a young group that, they should be there and be in the top of the, top 10 in the league, I think, this year as well. And then offensively, I mean, when you have some of the weapons that they have offensively as the quarterback, and Purdy's job is to just make sure don't be stupid, don't make a dumb decision and throw it into coverage, get it to the playmakers. So you got Debo, you got McCaffrey, you got some of the best in the business, catch and run, and with the head coach being as offensive, the offensive genius that he is, sky's the limit. I really think that this is kind of a team that it's going to come down to, can they, in the playoffs, number one, stay healthy, and can they not basically get into that situation where you start hot, or you see it every single year. I mean, I think years past, 3 years ago, the Steelers were like 11-0, right? And then they fizzle out. Yeah. So it's more of this climbing and going up in a nice pace to where you climb, you maximize, where your team's at and how you look around Thanksgiving, and then you just go from there. And then that's when you hit the playoffs and you're firing on all cylinders. So it's going to probably take a little bit for Brock Purdy to settle down and feel comfortable, but I got 100% confidence that the 49ers will be a team, very competitive team, competing for a championship this year.
What are your thoughts on Trey Lance? Obviously, this was a guy they had high hopes for. They moved off for Jimmy Garoppolo. He just couldn't stay healthy with them. They trade away all this draft capital for this guy, Trey Lance, out of North Dakota State. Hasn't worked out. He's gotten hurt a couple times. He's back now after the broken ankle last year in week 2 against the Seahawks. What are your overall thoughts on Trey Lance and how he's been used in Kyle Shanahan's system prior to that? Because they have a lot of high hopes for this kid until Brock Purdy came along, won 8 straight. Now he's QB1 heading into next season.
Well, I think the injuries definitely played a big factor in that. When you get hurt, sometimes that's out of your control. But I would assume that he's an athletic quarterback that you can use him in certain situations still. So if he came in on the field and he was a guy that you have to be aware of, as a defender, I can tell you firsthand, experiencing playing a team with a quarterback that comes in the game that you have to account for in the running game. So that's pure 11-on-11 football. You got to make sure that you're ready for that. And I literally think back to when we played some of those teams that you walk on a certain player, and if you're not ready for it and you don't go over it in the week of practice, they hurt you. So I would sprinkle in a little bit of that Wildcat. I know that's changed now, but the RPO, bring them in certain situations, and you make teams prepare for that.
Rob Ninkovich here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. Check out the Dan and Nico Show podcast. It's really good. Just had Rob Gronkowski on there. Rob Gronkowski is content gold. Of course, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ with the New England Patriots. Rob Ninkovich here on the roast. Sam Darnold. You obviously were close to the Patriots. You saw a lot of AFC East football. You played for the Dolphins. Sam Darnold, what's your thoughts on Sam Darnold as he is on his third team after being the 3rd overall pick out of USC? Excuse me. What do you think about his prospects in the Shanahan office? Do you see anything there? Does he have the talent? What's your impressions of Sam Darnold?
Well, we know he has the talent. Unfortunately, in this business, there's situations you're forced into due to where you're drafted. He went into a spot in New York that was completely dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. And, the league and the game is, a lot of it's based on confidence. But then on the other side of it, it's all chance on where you go and who your coach is, your experience there. I mean, look, when you look at certain guys in their careers, a lot of that is who's the coordinator, who's the head coach, are they utilizing your skill set, to the maximum? And I don't think that they did that in the places he was before. And then once your confidence goes and you start thinking about stuff and you question some things, then that's the problem, that you can't play to your full potential. So hopefully that's in the past for him, and he can go out there and play with confidence and compete and try to get on a football field and forget about the past. Past is over with. But yeah, he's definitely got the skills and the tools to be a great quarterback. So we'll see what happens this year. I know Brock Purdy's the starting quarterback. His chances of being that guy, you never know. I mean, look, you've seen Jimmy Garoppolo go out there and things happen, right? Things happen in this league. Things happen in the game. It's out of your control. You just got to be ready when you have an opportunity. So hopefully he's got an opportunity to take advantage of that if it arises. So I hope it doesn't arise, because then it means Brock Purdy's having an issue. So I hope Brock Purdy has a full healthy season and gets this team back in the playoff contention.
All right, enough about this offense. We know your bread and butter, Rob. It's defense. All right, man. Playing under Bill Belichick, probably the greatest defensive coach of all time. What do you see when you look at this 49ers defense? They got this guy, Fred Warner, Rob. He's probably the best linebacker in the league.
Yeah, and they got another guy. What's his name?
Trey Greenlaw.
Trey Greenlaw.
Oh, my God.
And then you got a pass rush. So, look, everyone knows there's three levels to defense, right? It's your front, it's the middle lot guys, the linebackers, and it's your secondary. If you have a front and you have the secondary, the middle guys, they just have to make sure everything to the flats are covered. They have those guys too. So they have the athleticism at the linebacker position to make those open field tackles. We know the offenses now, they're all spread. That whole power offense, that's a dinosaur. We're not seeing that. We're not watching that running game anymore. It's all spread, get people moving, get them out in space, one-on-ones, mismatches, and matchups. So I really think that literally sky's the limit for this defense. You have the pass rush, you got keys in the secondary, and you got the linebackers. So if they can stay healthy, and I say that every year because I know it from experience, you never know when the health bug will hit you. So hopefully everyone stays healthy on this defense, and, they might have to be the backbone of this team for the first month, first 4 weeks until Brock Purdy's getting more confident and gets back and feels like he's 100%. They might have to create some turnovers. They might have to score on defense to help this team in the first month of the season.
No doubt about that. Rob, what's a team out there in the NFL that we're not talking about that's going to shock the world this season? And then shocking the world doesn't mean winning a Super Bowl, but it's going to, be a playoff team, and it's going to surprise a lot of people. What team do you see out there that nobody's talking about?
Well, that's a tough one, because when you look at the divisions, right, you got the AFC, that's loaded, right? Then you look at the NFC. No, they're not. There's a few teams that I really think. You look at the Giants, right?
Yeah.
With Saquon, I don't think anyone's really. I mean, they're saying last year was kind of blah blah blah, but you got the coach of the year, you got Barkley back, who's a key, right, and then you got the quarterback, who eventually, this quarterback, and I think Danny Dimes, I think eventually he's going to become more of that pocket-style quarterback. So I'm going to go with the Giants, but I'm also going to go with the Jaguars. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I don't think a lot of people are talking about the Jaguars. And not in that, like, Super Bowl-type style, this team can do it.
Right.
So those are kind of two teams that Trevor Lawrence, I talked about coaching, right?
Right.
Think about the difference between his first year and his second.
God.
He looked like a completely different player, right?
Yep.
So they got a great head coach down there in Jacksonville. You got a great number one overall pick, who I think his sky's the limit for him. So he's going to have his second year under Doug Peterson. They might be a hell of a football team. And you talk about defense, they could be good as well. So I'm going to change my pick to only strictly the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There you go.
Well, the Giants, they did add Darren Waller, your boy, Spadoni.
Yeah, former Raider. And I want to actually ask you about the Raiders here in a second. Dan, and just listen. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's been much maligned, right? Like, this guy, had success, not a lot of injuries, but he's tier 2, tier 3 quarterback, wherever you want to go there. Rob, when I ask you about Josh McDaniels, and you played for this guy, all right? You played for Josh, and I know offensive side, but he was one of your coaches at New England. Yeah. Is this guy going to have success as a head coach in this league? Do you believe that he can have success? Because I'm trying to understand the blueprint of this Raiders team going forward, and the Niners are going to have joint practices with them next week. I'm trying to understand the thought process. Getting Derek Carr all that money, and I get rid of him. He's a Saint now. You bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. You bring in a New England guy. Had some success with him, just a few games. What are your thoughts on McDaniels and this Raiders team going forward with Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, Josh, I think he's a great coach. He's a great offensive mind. We know he'll always be a great coordinator. The opportunity in being a head coach, we know he had that before, prior, with the Broncos. Didn't work out. Had a stint there with the Rams in St. Louis, and then he came back to New England. Had obviously more success with offense and Tom Brady and Super Bowls and blah blah blah. So then you go and you get another opportunity to be a head coach. As a player, you don't realize that there's a lot more that goes into being a head coach than just calling plays or sticking to you have to micromanage everything. So, last year you go to a new place, you have some people there that aren't your guys, and coaches talk about this all the time. They bring in their staff, they bring in their system, they bring in their players. I don't think that they had necessarily the guys that Josh was 100% confident in to run his style of offense. But if they do, then
Might have lost him. I heard a door closing. That might have been
door closed. Something happened there. But Rob, we thank Rob for the time, man. We had him off for a while.
He did.
That's a hell of a walk-off right there.
Jimmy.
Wait, there he is. There we go. We lost you for a second.
Sorry. I just was in my car.
You're all good.
So Jimmy understands the offense. He's smart. He's been in this system for a long time. So I think that this year is a huge year for the Vegas Raiders and for Josh. I think Josh is going to have a great season. I know it's a tough division, but if Jimmy G can stay healthy, that's the biggest key. He's got to stay healthy, just like we've seen in years past. Unfortunate for Jimmy, they're kind of freak things. If anybody was to land the knee to your ankle while you're running, you're going to have an injury. So last year, freak accident. So, hopefully Josh with Jimmy can have a good season. But, Josh is a leader of men. He's a great coach, very smart. But it comes down to, can Jimmy G stay healthy? Can this team buy in? Does the offense look like a full Josh McDaniels style offense, which I do believe it will. And then defense has got to play better. And, last year they had the pieces. You got Mad Max, you got one of the best pass rushers in the league. So hopefully the defense will be better. Pat Graham there as the defensive coordinator, he was my coach with the Patriots. He was my position coach, good friend of mine. So you just got to get more buy-in. I think a lot of guys just have to buy into this. We're creating a new culture here. This isn't the culture of the past. We're in a new place. We got all the resources in the world. Let's go win some football games.
Rob, you're giving me hope, and I hate that as a Raider fan who's given me so much heartache the past 20 years. Real quick on your way out, my producer literally just texted me this. Ask him what kind of shirt he is wearing today. Do you wear a lot of Hawaiian shirts there, Rob?
Yeah.
What's your favorite island then? If you love the Hawaiian shirts, what's your favorite island?
Oh, no.
Oh, we're breaking.
Oh, no. He must be on the island.
He might be on the island.
Is he in Maui right now?
He might be walking up a volcano right now with some lava.
And he'll tell Sam directly which one they are, because Sam Lubman, producer extraordinaire, texted me that one.
Doubt.
So it's all right.
Rob Ninkovich, really, really good stuff there, man. Had him on for about 20 minutes, man. He has some high hopes about Brock Purdy defense, of course. Rob Ninkovich, two-time Super Bowl champ with the New England Patriots.
He's a clutch player, too. Rob Ninkovich kind of slept on because the Patriots of the last 20 years. God, how many names do they have on defense? You just think of all the guys they have. Rodney Harrison, amongst others, all guys like that. But Rob Ninkovich, clutch. I think of that, 2014-15, going up against the Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Boom. Clutch sack on Russell Wilson, though.
No doubt. It's big time there. Rob Ninkovich, Hawaii, so great. I would go back.
I've never been.